it was just like, oh my God, there's footage. There's footage. This is real. Like I have something. I did it. I did it. This is done. We did the project.
I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence.
Boom! Shakalaka turner! You're out on the floor! Ejectocito, cuz! It worked! I love this part! Please! Come on!
Goodbye, Benny.
Oh, so Mabari. So Nate and I, we talked a lot about this movie the last time we had a chat. And Nate, I do apologize if we go over a few things we already did go over, but I just wanted to do this. And I wanted to keep this one a lot lighter than the first one. Definitely at the end, I am going to bring it back to the serious stuff, but I definitely did want to get Mabari in here and make this a movie thing, because it's a movie. Let's talk about the movie, right? There's a meaning and there's context behind it, and there's all this good stuff and amazing stuff and maybe crazy shit around it, but it's a movie. So let's talk about it like it is a movie.
Sounds good.
You guys all ready?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Was that recording?
It is recorded. You let me know when you're ready to start, and then I'll start doing it.
Yeah, I'm ready to follow your lead, Wombury.
All right, Swerdick, let's go.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Welcome back, you guys. This is the Millennial Classics, and on this podcast, we talk about the best and most memorable movies, music, and culture-changing events from our generation. Today, we have a special guest. Today, we're doing a special movie. Mumbari, tell the people at home, who are we with, and what movie are we doing this week?
All right, we're doing a documentary. This is the first one, by the way. Documentary. Swerdick sent this my way, and I gotta say I was very surprised. But we're doing Nate Menninger's The Porter.
Karelap kilo tang lewa, karetang melo tang lewa, jemutong nege kisemang, karesang la desang, mijaji krang ke gustasi, kani kani kerang tesang, kang latong ngala teru, chila chila ngirang matu.
I actually didn't know what a porter was because I was confused because he kept on using porter and Sherpa, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But Nate Menninger is a porter. We got him right here. So this is the first interview too with the actual person, because we couldn't get a lot of people. We couldn't get Michael Bay, but we got Nate Menninger. So that's dope.
Right? We tried to get Judd Apatow. Who did all those movies?
You want to talk about, Nate, you want to talk about the movie, just quick intro?
Yeah, quick intro. The movie's about, I was kind of naively trying to become one of the first porters, which a lot of people in the West and in South, whatever, they'd be foreigners, know them as Sherpas, climbing Sherpas. It's the people who work on Mount Everest to carry clients' gear. I went over there to see if I was strong enough to show how strong these guys are at the same time. And the film is about how that screwed me up. And I also ended up making the film myself. So I did all the editing, all the coloring, all the audio, all the decisions was exclusively in my parents' room, in my parents' house, in this little editing room that I was working in. So it's got the production value of a real film, kind of.
Nate, thank you for that quick description. But I'm just going to add this in here just because I feel like I need to. I'm going to read the description that you wrote in the Vimeo. And by the way, those who are listening, watching, the link is going to be in the description box below. Vimeo is the number one place you want people to go watch this, right? Is it anywhere else? Or is Vimeo
I watched it on your website.
It's on it's on my website. It's on Vimeo. It's on Climbing Magazine. It's about to be on another. At this point, we're pretty much giving it everywhere. Beautiful. We're doing now tours screenings, drive-in screenings. I mean, it's kind of like a real movie. It's kind of wild.
I couldn't find the illegal download, so I had to do it legally.
Oh, there's no downloading yet. No, I haven't let anyone do that yet. It hasn't gone out. I don't think.
Of course, Murray was looking for the illegal download.
So would I. Let's be honest. That's what we do.
To that. So the official description and all the links to everywhere you can find it at the time we post this will be in the description box below. But the official description of this movie goes as a young privileged American attempts to make history at Everest by becoming one of the first ever foreign-born porters to aid at Mount Everest expedition. But in doing so, experiences a world far above his head. This is an inside look at the darker side of Everest, at the strength, pride, and pain of those who support it, and at just how hard it is for a naive foreigner to attempt the same. This is The Porter. Nate Menninger is a porter. Are you officially a porter, or is that just like you just have that title while you're carrying the goodies?
No, I'm not. I'm Nate. I'm just a dumb idiot.
Nate, we call this a millennial classic, right? We call our podcast a millennial classic. And obviously you are a millennial. You graduated the same high school as us. Oh, by the way, you guys, for those who are watching, Nate graduated our high school. This is a trio of amazingness you're seeing right now. Just understand this. This is greatness. On your screen right now is greatness. Continuing, we call this the Millennial Classics. I don't know if you've seen any of our others, but could you describe why you think this is a Millennial Classic? Obviously, outside of the fact that you are a millennial.
Me?
Yeah, I want you to describe it.
I mean, everyone thinks their film's great, right? So everyone, if you got Michael Bay, if you got anyone on here, they'd say the same shit. You know, they'd say that they're the shit and that they break all these boundaries. So I'm about to say that. But why do I think it's a millennial classic? Because in all honesty, it breaks a lot of laws. You know, part of the reason that it does is because I had never made a film. I knew nothing about this shit. But I'm extremely, focused to a fault in the sense that I was going to get it done and I could break a lot of rules. There's no narration. That's not something you see in films. There's no soundtrack, which I was like one day away from giving someone $7,000 to get a soundtrack from. This guy was one of the best composers. I mean, Hans Zimmer, Apprentice, like this guy's wildly good. And I was like, fucking no, you know, at the last second. And the other facets that come, there's no, in my eyes, it's like a movie that is a documentary. You know, like it doesn't explain things. The whole time you're questioning, just like if you turned on Mission Impossible, it doesn't say at the beginning, and here we're going to go climb this big mountain, which is what most documentaries are. This is just like, this could be a movie. You know, this could be a movie, but it's not a movie. It's a documentary. And in my mind, I think it's on the trend that 1918, if you've seen 1918, it's on this immersive, like this new style of filmmaking, which I think is so much fucking better. And it's just a throw you in to a snapshot of a realm that exists, whether that's in the past or future or present. And obviously 1918 is taking that to the limit, but this is the alternative. And it's, in my mind, I think a fucking break from everything. I mean, there's a reason Netflix has rejected me. There's a reason there's this shit going on. Yet I have all these massive companies behind me. I mean, it's very different, and that's hard to, I don't want to get cocky, you know, you're just asking me.
Like the 1918 name drop. I like that a lot.
I'm being honest, the immersive technique of filmmaking, I think it's called like, you know, some verite. I think it's called verite filmmaking if you Google it. But it's the idea of just like letting the scene tell a story. And if you read these incredible books, because I never made film, I would read some of these really good writers like Tolstoy or Dostoevsky, and the way they write their books, the reason they're famous, I don't know why, but they just throw you in. They just throw you into these worlds and you just have to figure it out. And the first 50 pages, you're like, the fuck? You still probably don't even want to read it because it's too many weird words and shit. But there's a reason that these storytellers, are lauded as the best. And why? I don't know. But maybe
that's actually the first thing I noticed. It was the no narration. Because like I watched that other doc, the climbing doc with that dude who climbs walls and shit.
Which one? Meru?
Alex.
No,
right? Alex.
Yeah, that guy.
Free Solo.
And it has narration, and they also spend a lot of time describing how hard what he's about to do is. So you kind of get hyped into it. And that yours is like completely like you just jump right in. I mean, it's literally like it just starts with you getting up and then you just go. And I'm like trying to catch up and figure shit out. You're speaking Nepalese. I know you, and I'm still like, does he knows Nepalese? And it's just so different from every other doc I've seen. But I gotta say, there was the part at the end where I really felt like, now I'm feeling it, was when you were carrying the 100 kgs at the end, and you were like, how far? And I was like, now I'm feeling them. Now I'm feeling them. I can feel the emotion right there.
It's a niche film. It's no one knows who I am. So it's not like you're going to turn it on. Like some people turn it off, the average viewing is not 100%. But the style is something that, like, let's say I was actually climbing Everest, or let's say I was racing Formula One, or let's say I was doing something that is so much more wild and recognizable. Like, you're going to come in, and for that first 20 minutes, even though I'm getting used to the culture, you're still going to watch because you're like, it's not just 100 kilos. It's like, it's this massive battle in World War I, or it's this whatever that's coming. So, yeah, I understand it's slow, but it can be intense, especially if you ramp it up. You could do a real Hollywood movie the same way.
Mumbari, before we jump into the movie, before you watched it, and after I told you what it was about, is there like, what were you thinking? What was your expectation of the movie before you started watching it?
All right. So here's the thing. Swartik is so bad at describing shit.
You gotta be honest as fuck.
Swartik told me you climbed Mount Everest and were a porter, a Sherpa. And I was like, Nate climbed Mount Everest? Holy shit. I'm watching this. And when it started, I was like, I kept on waiting for the narration to explain, because I'd never seen it before. So I was just like, all right, he's going to explain where we are, because I'm trying to figure out. My brother had to come down and be like, yo, I think they're going to base camp. Is that where you guys were going? Yeah. Because I was like,
it's very niche. It's niche.
Once you get into the groove, the dynamic between you and the other two guys, and I kind of like their interviews, and some of the like just the shots of just the people in the village. I'm a fan. I like that shit. That was very movie-like. That was very like that was I like that. But from what Swartik told me, it was completely different. Because Swartik's bad at describing shit.
I'll take full responsibility. I will. That's 100% all.
Well, what did you expect? I think what did you expect? Was it
so
on par, below, or above, or just different?
I thought I'd know more about you, right? But it wasn't about you. It was more about the actual experience and actual porters and what they go through. So, in that sense, I guess I was expecting more of like you talking to camera in the beginning and being like, my name's Nate, and this is what I'm trying to do, and then narrate it the whole way up, which is what I was expecting. Maybe that's just because I'm a narcissist, and that's what I would do. But
that's what I originally made.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, I shot all that. I opened the film with a background about me, or I closed it too. I had all these stand-ups like in The Office, the talking heads of me explaining things, and you really think about it.
This is a perfect transition, because this is usually when Mumbari jumps in and talks about the directing, the background, and how much it costs and all that stuff. So I'm going to let Mumbari take it away, but this is perfect.
Yeah. So who filmed it?
Okay. So get to Nepal. I have all this stuff set up. Everything falls through. I'm there with a little film equipment. That's not the stuff I need for the film, because it's not good equipment.
What camera do you use?
Well, I have the camera that wasn't really used in the film actually at all. So I don't even have a camera yet. And my videographer is supposed to come. Nope, that falls through. So I'm literally screwed with other people's money that I spent in Nepal with this dream, but I obviously have no idea what I'm doing because I've never studied film. I don't know how to make a film. So I'm just kind of filming things as I go around. And I come into contact through a videographer with a guy named Babin Dulal. And this guy has done a bunch of projects. He has time off for the next month. I tell him, look, I got this much money, which is not a lot. And he's like, I'm like, it's going to be intense. Like, this is a long shoot and it's 24/7. I don't know how explicit I was about that, but he came on. So his name is Babin Dulal, and he's done a bunch of work now, and my partner in a way. I mean, he is a genius, and it's pretty.
So he shot it, but then you're the one who ended up editing it, cutting it up.
Yeah, so he shot it. He shot it. I also had a GoPro for excess footage. Sometimes a local porter would pick up the camera. Very documentary in that sense, but he shot 99% of it, and it was about 40 hours of footage, maybe a little less, which is a lot of footage. And then when it came down to it, everything else was me on out.
So before even all that, how did you even get started? Like, how did you decide you're going to do this? Even if you knew you wanted to, did you want to climb, or did you want to go to Nepal and do the trek?
No.
Outside, or was your first thing like, I want to make a movie?
No, I had been trying to do this shit, like, you do your thing, I do mine, Spark does his. My thing was trying to get a TV show off the ground about my crazy things that I do. Yeah. And I've been doing everything, like taking a job at through Nat Geo, because I thought I could eventually pitch Nat Geo if I had the connection, and then writing for the director of Black Mirror, because I thought if I got a show off the ground with him attached, then they'd give me my own show. It was like everything I was doing was trying to get there, until eventually I lost so many jobs and everything fell through that I launched my own. And the one I launched was, I was guiding, and I found out you could climb Everest for free as a porter. You'd actually get paid. So I didn't have $65,000, which is what it costs. And yet I was like, that's a dope next project. That's the next level, not only to climb Everest, but to do it in the hardest way possible as a local. Then I'll really see if I'm the strongest man on earth. I was this washed up athlete, and like, there was part of that, like, I failed at becoming a pro athlete. So can I still prove it in a way? And that was the goal. Obviously I went to Nepal still thinking I'd raise $65K, still thinking that an investor, one of these people I was talking to, would come through with that money. But that never happened. I got $5,500 from one of my college teammates, a PA who had operated on me with the doc, and I got it from Francisco Esperanza, if you remember him.
Get out of here.
I had never talked to him. Literally a homeroom person, and he was just like, I know what you're doing. I heard it. Like, I'm giving you money. I was like,
holy shit.
Sure? Like, I'm not even accepting money, really. And he got it all started. So then that, and then a grandpa's gift. I was going to take a loan out for my parents and have to work a real job after. But then I got a gift from my grandpa, and ultimate privilege with that. I had $9,500. Maybe.
Word. That was my next question. So
yeah.
$10,000. I mean, and it looks legit too. It looks like a documentary. So congrats, because $9,500 is not a lot. I mean, it's literally not. Blair Witch money.
Blair Witch is $50K actually, if you look at it.
Really?
$50K, because you have to realize after
it looks like shit.
And it looks like after you make the film, we shot it on a Sony A7 III. I think that's the way you say it.
Okay.
To get into that stuff, it was a decision. Like, I knew nothing about film, and I have to decide, what are we going to bring? Are we going to bring a gimbal? How many filters are we going to bring? Do we need a tripod? That's going to add this weight.
But you used a tripod though, right? Because
for a few shots, there's, I think, only one shot in the entire movie that shows the tripod for a time lapse. But all the other shots I took out because I didn't want time to pass quickly in the film.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was mostly like that, and that runs a couple grand. So you exhaust that money quickly, and then post-production costs, like I was told it would cost $1 million to edit this footage because it's a feature-length film, And I still didn't know what I was making. I was still trying to get Hollywood to make it. But I was in the editing room literally day in and day out. Like,
damn. Yeah, because 40 hours.
I mean, sometimes 12 hours, sometimes 14, sometimes 16, 18, sometimes 3. Sometimes you're there the whole day in the editing room, literally accomplishing nothing. And you're just sitting there for months. I mean, fucking months and months and months and months and months, almost a year, until you literally make 3 different movies. I made separate different movies with different objectives until eventually coming to like full circle and realizing, you know, what I actually had, the footage I had, and then why I made it the way I made it. You know, why isn't there stuff about me in the film? Why isn't there narration? Why aren't there talking heads? Because you are showing someone else's life. Like, are you gonna tell me what they experience? You don't fucking know shit. You went there and did 23 days. Don't tell me shit. Just show me.
Nate, I fucking love that. I love that. Because I was just about to ask you, what were the other 3 movies? Like, what were the other 2 movies, I mean? And you... It's beautiful.
2, yeah.
Yeah, the other 2 movies. So it's a movie about the Porters, and you didn't want to explain shit, because what do you know, right?
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. And I don't know anything about movies, and I don't know if this movie's been out enough for it to be rated or get reviewed.
No, I submitted it to IMDb to get that stuff going. So hopefully they'll put it up there.
That's nice. But I do see your, like, the thumbnail for the picture, right? For the movie, The Porter, has all of those Sundance things with the leaves around it. Right?
This is wild, what we're about to talk about. It's going to blow your mind, Burry, if you know anything about film.
Okay,
Yeah,
so go ahead.
I noticed that too. I was going to ask you. So did you like submit it?
No, okay. So you get laurels from festivals.
Yeah.
So the way the film industry works, and we're going to just kind of walk it by because I'm idiotically, naively trying to do a different route. But the way it works is you make a film, right? You have a team and you get press. This part is a little, I don't really know, but you ultimately submit it to festivals. The point of festivals is for exposure, not for eyes, but for the people going there. The distributors, Netflix, Amazon, because you go to a festival, because you get the laurel, because they've proven there's an audience, they'll pick it up, and that's how the system works.
One thing, I'm sorry to interrupt you. What is a laurel?
A laurel is just
it's the leaves. It's like
okay.
brackets. It's the leaves. It's the acclaim. So that's how the system works. If you want to get a film on Netflix, that's your best bet. Submit it to festivals, get the acclaim, get the laurels, boom, hopefully catch the eye of them, and you have all these festivals backing you, right? Now, I'm dealing with a very real issue that if I don't get out quickly is useless. So if I wait to go to festivals, if I peddle this like a regular film, in effect, I am doing a disservice because I'm holding the information. I'm going after awards. It's like, I'm not a filmmaker. I don't fucking need awards. Like, I made a film, yeah, but this is about a real thing. You know, this is a message, not so much a film. And I haven't been submitting to festivals. So the alternative is, in my mind, if we can get all these companies to support it, you don't fucking need festivals. I mean, so why not look at the festivals look at the companies like festivals, look at International Federation, look at Climbing Magazine, look at NMA, look at Arc'teryx, Mountain Hardwear, North Face. You're not appealing to them. You're just collaborating. And if they come on, that gives it merit. And you're building an entire new platform, which is kind of dumb of me because I don't know really what I'm doing, but
it makes sense because you're bypassing the whole festival because you have to get accepted and you have to apply and pay for, and that takes a lot of time.
And that time is like, I don't want to waste that. I don't need to rely on Netflix picking this up. What if they don't?
Before we continue, I'm a little confused. I'm going to push back a little here. I'm confused as to, is it impossible to, I don't see the waiting of time losing the message. I don't see those as the same thing, right? I don't see you waiting means losing the message. Why can't you go slower and just, is it a money thing or is it you want it out as fast as possible thing?
No, I mean, every day you wait, the information becomes one day removed. So It's not.
I see what you mean.
They go
I see
one
what
more
you mean.
day in the hole. The issue goes one more day unchanged. Like, whatever the truth is, it's one more day that things are not happening.
Are not what your movie made it look like.
Right.
Yes.
So,
yes. Yeah.
and it just doesn't make sense. You know, if you're going to really make something, and the reason I finished this film, because the first one was a Hollywood one, the second was the narration one, the third one was this. The only reason I finished it was because of the shit it has in it. So if that's going to be at the core, and you aren't going to keep that at the core, then
no, thank you.
Then it's like contradictory to what you made.
Makes sense.
So it's very unique because I continue to give it out for free, and in that you continue to pigeonhole yourself away from Amazon, Netflix, and you continue. Now you have to almost create a new platform. You're your own distributor, because distributors take 40%. Do you guys know that?
Did not know that. Netflix takes 40%.
For just connecting you with someone. As simple as a phone call, they're going to take 40%.
That's insane.
That's absurd.
That's insane.
Like,
that's insane.
And I got an offer, and I was like, I'm not. What? You didn't do anything.
So at this point in the podcast, we usually just jump right into the movie. Usually, Nate, we do best scenes, but I just want to chronologically go through the scenes, and then we could talk about things that popped up and that we noticed, or things that you want to talk about during those scenes.
Yeah. So first, what was interesting was, so the clients, when you met them, you were like, I'm not going to speak English.
Yeah.
Were they just like, what's going on here?
Oh my God. I mean, I did speak some English throughout, and I snuck off sometimes because I was just very stressed. And yeah, I mean, no one, it was like, what's going on? This guy's coming in, he's kind of a novelty. People are staring at me because I have a film and I'm becoming a porter. Like, that's not a thing people do. Everyone's looking at me. The guides are looking at me. It's all very strange. And my only goal is to live in complete fairness of whatever I'm doing. So I'm swearing to their life, everything: shirt, glasses, sunglasses, no sunscreen, tap water, everything they do, I want to do. And if they're going to introduce me and stare at me, it felt like an unfair experience, like not the experience I needed for the film. So I would always try to divert it back to them. And if they weren't going to communicate, I wouldn't communicate. So I just tried to turn away for the most part. And sometimes I snuck out, but yeah.
And since you said you weren't like, because originally, because you spoke Nepalese.
Yeah, Nepali.
Word. Thanks for that, by the way.
Well, it changed. It doesn't matter. They say Nepalese here in America and Nepali there. So
Nepali. All right. And but you said because originally I was like, was he like a major in Nepali or Nepali? Because I was like, but if you said you were just your main thought was making the movie, so you learned the language for the movie?
I had actually learned the language for a different project. A year prior, I wanted to go knock on a monastery in the mountain. I told Swartek, like James Bond, the people and monks in the mountains in the snow. I thought if I taught myself Nepali, I could knock on their door and be like, can I stay here for 3 months and write about it? So I taught myself Nepali in a few weeks. Obviously, I wasn't that good at first. I somehow got better after Noble Silence, which was a thing I did. And then I already knew it for this. And but that is kind of like, it's kind of a part of what I do, is like learning the language that goes with the region.
Are you allowed to go into China after all this Nepal, pro-Nepal videos you're putting out?
There's nothing. Nepal has, I don't know too much about politics with that. It's mainly Tibet.
Tibet. Yeah. Damn, I had a lot of China content coming in. It was Tibet. All right.
You always have a lot of China content.
No, China's a big market. It's a big market.
It's a huge market. I did want to also mention this, Nate. People were also staring at you because you're 6'3" Negro. Like, you're the tallest dude by a mile. Like, you tower over everybody. over everybody. That entire family was like, "Oh my goodness, he's 7 inches taller."
Yeah, I'm 6'1.5" or something. I'm not 6'3", but
Whatever
I'm
the
a big
number
dude.
is.
I'm a big dude.
You are a big dude.
I was taking a shit in the hole because I've done that, and I don't know how it went with you, but I missed the first couple of times.
I mean, it's tough. It's tough. Luckily, we ran out of toilet paper in my other house here in Atlanta, and I had the skills, to wipe with my hand. So
I mean, I've never done that.
wipe
I've
with your
used
hand.
leaves before.
Wow, your hand.
Even when I'm
You pull it up. You pull up that, and then you have a cup of water, and you kind of do a little. There's a whole technique, but
I'm sure there is.
it's hard. I mean, I have all these surgeries, and I'm like, when I'm squatting, I literally have to hold on to something, or I'm gonna fall over. I don't know, holding on to the door, like my legs are like cramping and stuff.
Usually those bathrooms are so gross that you don't even want to touch anything. So I'm just like, just squat and get out. I kind of liked just the instant immersion into that. There was one house that had tarps on the walls, and I was like, damn, I've never seen that before. But was that just for waterproofing? Because that was wild.
Very good thing to point out. The reason, I don't know. I assume there's not insulation really. Like Nepali homes aren't really built with insulation, so you're basically sleeping outside with something between you.
Yeah, I got to call you an idiot for one thing, and that was when you were like, "Yeah, I'm only gonna go. Everyone's got one blanket. I'm only gonna go one blanket." I was like, "If this is this motherfucker's last words, this is gonna look stupid, bro."
It was worse too because they actually had 2 blankets, but in season when it's most crowded, you only get 1. So I was like, no, I want the worst. I don't care if it's the worst, not the worst right now. I want what it could be. And I would like throw my blanket to someone else and just like an idiot. I mean, they just like, this guy must be an idiot.
At this full immersion. I like it. I like the dedication. So once you guys did get up to that starting base where you became a porter and you started going, after that first day of carrying I think you said you started out with 25. After the first day of carrying the 25 kilogram load, you got there, and then when it was time to relax, right? First of all, it looked like you were about to break your neck, right? There was a couple of scenes after crossing the bridge where it was right up all close to your face, and you looked like you were about to drop dead, and that was in the beginning with the 25 kilos, right? But once you got there, no toothbrush. Where's your toothbrush, Nate? Number one. And lastly, you said that there's no showering, but they kept on asking you throughout the movie to wash your feet.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the no toothbrush, the feet, and the neck.
Sometimes you just got to do what you're told. I don't really know why I'm washing my feet. I don't know. I can assume you don't want them to get dirty and stuff, and you got to wear the same socks and things. And I don't really know. The toothbrush, I don't know if I had one the whole trip. I don't remember. I thought
you were like
I think I was fingering it. I think I was fingering myself the whole time.
I respect.
And then, yeah, you mean you don't shower for 23 days we were talking about, but like you don't get that dirty. I told you my skin healed. Like I had no acne after the thing. And I was
because of how cold it is? I mean, were you not sweating the whole time?
Oh my lordy! I mean, I sweat, Lumber. I don't know if you remember, but I used to sweat.
Yeah.
Notice in high school, but I used to sweat a lot. And you take your shirt off after you sweat. You have to hang it up at lunch. You put it back on. Eventually, the diet is all salt based. So instead of eating sugar, eating salt, and you're drinking less water. And over time, the more salt you have, the more you retain water. The less you drink. That's the diet, and eventually, you're not sweating as much. Because I think your body is more containing it. I mean, that's why you eat so much salt, just to hold everything in. People don't drink, porters don't drink water. Like, don't drink water. It's fucking crazy.
So when you were carrying, because I was actually, this is the part where I was mad interested because, so you're carrying these people's shit.
Right.
Are they ahead of you? Are they behind you? Do they just go off because they don't have to carry anything and then you guys just are on your own schedule? What happens there? Because I don't know, this is just me, but I get mad when I'm carrying other people's shit And after a while, I start thinking, why the hell this got to be so heavy? They won't miss this bag. Let's go through this shit. So, I mean, after hours and hours of carrying someone else's heavy ass shit, some thoughts go through your head.
Oh, you're angry. I was angry once at all foreigners. I was angry. There was a scene in the film that I took out, and it was me like standing in their hotel room on the 10th day, and I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, I was just pissed. I was very pissed.
Yeah.
It was grueling, and I forget, what was your first question?
Were they ahead of you? Were they behind? Because you don't actually see. The only time you see him was coming off the plane, meeting him. And then a little bit later, you meet him again, and then at the end, you see him. But so were they like ahead of you, behind you? So
they pack their bags up, they put them in their rooms or whatever, then they go eat breakfast. By the time their bags are packed, then you have to come in, pick them up, strap them together, and leave. And you have to arrive at the hotel before them. If you don't, there's not like a written law, but if you don't, obviously it's going to affect your tip, or so you think. So you got to get there before them, and sometimes you're hours before, sometimes you're a few minutes. Generally, you're a while before them, because you move very fast. You have to move fast. So you're running sometimes. You're not stopping a lot. I mean, now that I think back to it, I haven't thought back to it ever since the experience, and just now, I just remembered what it felt like. It was fucking terrible.
I bet, bro.
It
looks so painful.
Like this, and you're just like, I'm going. I'm going. You're in this forward tilt, and you can't really move, and you have to like kind of go like this. Oh my god! And you're just moving. It's moving. You're moving.
Burry, that's such a good thing that you brought up, because you're right. The whole movie, like, you being respectful, you're doing what you're told, you're going through the process, and it's a lot of the actual porters talking and like all of the people, right? But then there are those very quick scenes of your face where you look like this is the most painful thing ever, where you are getting there with the 100 kilos and you're like, where is it? How far? So yeah, that was great. Like I never even thought about that even for a second. But
I mean,
go ahead.
Because Sorek worked at Benny's Moving and Storage with me.
I worked there.
You worked there too, and I just remember.
One Burry flipped the truck.
Yeah, no, that wasn't me. That was the sound. But
he was in the truck,
and I just remember you get so mad that people have to lift. They are moving with their dressers with everything still in it, and you get irrational thoughts in your head. And on top of all that, because it's not obviously the same, but it's also tips at the end.
It's very similar, actually. I've been moving furniture for income. Like, don't have any.
But you waiting for the tips at the end, and you make snap judgments based on who you meet about how much you're going to make at the end almost immediately. And I was just wondering, did you only have one client the whole way through, or did you have multiple? 4, 5? So were you like...
6th was my videographer who...
so were you like, I'm going to get a fat tip halfway through, or were you like these cheap guys?
Yeah, I thought we would get a massive tip because I was making a freaking film about it. Like, it was so clear that I was exposing problems. It was so clear. Like, you'd have to, it was so clear. And then...
I was going to say...
In the end, it's not their fault. They were extremely nice. And I'll explain why it's not their fault. But 2 people tipped $20 combined. So that's...
Were the names Swardick and Lawrence?
11 days of work.
$20 combined?
That's
insane.
That's nuts.
We got $100 each, which obviously other people tipped more, but it's not, that's the real issue of the film, and that's what I'm still pushing and trying to write articles about, and the reason why I'm talking to international organizations to expose the reason why they don't tip a lot. But
I was gonna bring this up later, but we did talk about this the other day, on Monday, and I didn't notice it until after we talked about it, and then watching some more of it today. there was a scene in the movie where one of the porters, and you were telling me how there's an animosity between porters and tourists. There was a scene in the movie where one of the porters was like, "Are you going to ask them for a tip? They're not going to give us a tip." And you're like, "I'm not going to demand a tip." And they were like, "You have to demand a tip." And then you were like, "Why?" And they were like, "Because they're not going to tip us." Is that like, that's insane?
Yeah, that's a wild question. I mean, now we're getting to whole cultural norms and everything. I mean, you don't ask for a tip when you're moving furniture, you know?
But you stand there. You stand there and you just do the...
You want to tip, but you're never going to ask. And even if they don't tip, you're not going to say, "Are you going to tip?" You let your foreman maybe bring it up, or you want someone to bring it up, but you can't ask. I mean...
And you can't make them either. It's just how it is.
Yeah, and you can't make them. I mean, they're tips. They're tips.
But in the beginning of the movie, didn't he explicitly say that tips are part of the pay?
Yeah, I thought he said they were mandatory for that one company, though, right?
Well, I mean, how much is hearsay? You know, you say a tip's mandatory. Is a tip mandatory? What's mandatory? 25 cents? You say you can't make tips ever mandatory. Like you can say, yeah, you have to tip. You recommend you tip, but that you're not recommending. You might recommend how much. Nothing is like held. You can't hold someone accountable for a tip.
Yeah.
Plus, you have to realize you're in another country, and America is the only country that tips well. Like China, Japan, like it's not a customary practice to tip a lot in these countries, even in Europe. So yeah, here, if you come here, you play by our rules, we want. But if you've waited at a restaurant, you know that if foreigners come in, it's like a fight to who doesn't wait on them. You know? I'm like, I don't want to take the foreigners. No one wants to take the foreigners.
Because they're not going to tip well. And you're right. So he did say it was mandatory, but technically those two bums that gave you a combined...
They're not bums. They're nice.
Okay.
Nah, they're bums. But here's the thing, because I literally was like, all right, these guys are going to get a fat tip because it's all on camera. We saw their faces. And I was like, I mean, I'm thinking 500, 1,000, because that's what the optimistic Porter was saying. And I was like, word, these guys are going to get a fat tip. And then you were like, $100 each. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good, if you don't make $100 working at a movie company in one day, that's like a bad day in tips.
Yeah.
And
in the 12th day, we work for free. 12th day, we wake up at 6:30 or 6 a.m. and move their bags onto the airport. They've already tipped us. We don't get salary for that day. It's all free.
That's like a flight attendant. My first thought was, because flight attendants, you only get paid once you get out, you're on the plane, the door's locked.
Yeah, it's like, well, I had to get there. I had to get people's bag. I have to. Is that true?
Yeah, you only get paid when the doors are locked and the plane is. They get shafted.
A flight attendant.
They don't give a shit until the plane's moving. They don't.
Dude, going to the airport, all that shit, you don't get paid for any of it.
Yeah, that's screwed up.
Moving on. So I did notice we did talk about the food last time, but I will have to bring it up this time again. Tukpa dipped in coffee or tea or whatever that was. I saw that a few times. Is that a delicacy? Is that a go-to? And
no, then he's dipping stuff.
Yeah, I saw some like stick, and you guys were calling it like a tukpa.
No, tukpa's noodles. That's just a donut type thing.
Okay. So that was just a breakfast thing.
Yeah, just a donut. You dip it. You dip everything. I mean,
Nepali food though, you liked it?
Nepali food. I mean, no, I don't.
It struck me as more like utilitarian type, like. What? I'm not being.
I was like, where are the options? I wanted some beef. I wanted some fish.
No. That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. Like, you know how you it looked like, you know how do I talk about this?
You gotta walk the line.
There's, there's like that stereotypical Mexican food where it's like tacos and all that shit. But like when you really go into the meat and potatoes of it all, it's rice and beans and shit like that, right? Real utilitarian, like there's no fancy shit, there's no like meat or whatever. And like Irish food. It looks gross, bro. It's like potatoes and cabbage and all this stuff, but it's real like hearty for like farmers and shit. It's not like French sautés and stuff like that. So that's what I meant by utilitarian. And that's what struck me when I was watching the food, because it wasn't like, like Chef's Table on Netflix where it's like slow-mo and there's fog and shit and it tastes like mint. It wasn't like that.
Oh, there's a couple close-ups. It's just white rice.
Yeah, steaming. And then your homeboy, it was the morning before the 4th day of hiking and he's drinking. Is that a regular occurrence?
So about the food, you want anything else?
No.
Oh, about the food. Yeah, I mean, there's some good food. They have momos in Nepal, which are like dumplings, which are unreal. I mean, you could eat like 1,000 of those. Mm-hmm. They got some other good food. Dal bhat is just rice and lentils, and that's like their Nepalese dish. Like if you were to say like Uganda or South Africa as a dish, or Kenya or Ghana.
I mean, Kenya, we eat that too. We eat rice and lentils a lot too.
That's like their dish, rice and lentils. So it's called dal bhat, and the reason it came from is because farmers, what could you eat to sustain you through the day? Like one time was just a ton of rice. So you get this plate with rice and lentils. You eat all the rice. You just put more rice, eat all the rice. You put more rice, and then you go and work, and it sustains you. So that's where it came from, and that's what's used in the mountains. That's what we ate. Do I like it? No, I don't really like it because I eat white rice with salt now because it's like in my mind, and I like it now. But dal bhat is like, ugh, I don't like it that much. No offense to them, but I like cheeseburgers and stuff. And
I mean, the only thing I've heard is never trust a sushi in Nepal.
That's not. Who's heard that?
I'm joking. I just made that up right now.
The alcohol is. Yeah, the alcohol is a whole other thing. I mean, people drink when they say
it's like
cold, huh?
Is it like moonshine type, like homemade stuff, or is it like you people out there drinking Smirnoff?
No, it's like it's not moonshine as strong, but yeah,
it's like that homemade stuff.
It's like millet rice wine, and kind of flavored, and people drink it in the morning. People drink it at lunch. I don't know why. That was the first thing that kind of ticked me off. Like I've played some high level athletics, and no one drank. Maybe someone was sneaking it, but no one drank during a game, during a practice, before the night. Okay, but during, I mean, and openly, like they say it's for the cold. I don't know what the truth is, but it happens. And it's obviously an indicator that it's tough.
It was a well-known fact that Lawrence Taylor used to do lines of coke before each game. So some people can do it.
I mean, I heard that quarterback for Florida State, wasn't it?
I have no idea. Florida State? Anything in Florida? I don't
know. James Winston?
I heard he took some fireball shots in the locker room, which, to be honest, it might help.
Probably helped with his accuracy, not going to lie.
No, I think he won the tournament or something.
I think they won the title that year.
Yeah, and I heard he took them in the halftime that game or some shit.
So
I mean, that's hearsay. Who knows the truth? But I'm sure it would help. It might.
Whatever. I believe it. He threw 30 picks in one year. So
you don't want that much alcohol. You like a couple of shots, tequila.
You don't want that much alcohol. That's like going from day 4 to probably day 7 is when the weight was starting to increase. I think day 5 is when you went to 40 kilos. But I did notice throughout that stretch of days in the movie, a lot more pictures of the view. The view is fucking godlike. Every time I look at the view, I'm like, this is absolutely amazing. And then on top of that, you see all of the animals, the yak, the goats, the donkeys, and all of this stuff. And there was that one dude who's like, be careful because he's going to kick you off the mountain. How close to the edge were you guys? And last thing, the rickety ass bridges look scary as fuck, especially carrying all that weight. So please, the views, the bridges, and then the animals plus the view. Your thoughts? How'd you feel? How'd you like it?
Yeah, the views are, I mean, it's a pretty cool place. I like Patagonia more. I think it's cooler. Himalayas are tough, man. I mean, it's the tallest mountain range. Everest is not pretty. Everest is like ghostly. It's like it's got this pile of just feeling of kind of grayness and it's like, I don't know, there's kind of some shit going on here. I'd rather go somewhere else. And it's not like super beautiful. I'm sure you could catch it on a nice day, but there's other places that are much prettier. The views as a porter, you don't see, your head's down most of the time. I've already been there, so I had already seen it. And I mean, there's some cool looking things for sure. I mean, you're almost on top of the world, but views are just is what it is. The life that goes on, there's some wildlife here and there, but it's very sparse. And a lot of the donkeys or mules or yak that are transporting goods, you're pretty close to the edge. Sometimes not as close, like one step you're dead. But sometimes, yeah, you're pretty close. And if you fall, don't fall. And don't get on the side. They say don't go on the wrong side of the donkey when you're on the trail, because they could hit you off. And it almost happened to me once. There's a clip I didn't put in the film, but I almost went off. And that was in the lead up, because I was just like, we gotta go. And there's like hundreds of donkeys, and it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. It's yeah. And you can run, my first time there, we were running with the animals, because they'll start running and we start running, and it's like running with the bulls. I was with this Spanish guy. He's like, it's like running with the bulls in the Himalaya or whatever.
The old porter who was talking about how they moved Sir Edmund Hillary's house piece by piece. I was like, that's the widest shit I've ever heard in my life, bro.
Dude, that's low key like the most unbelievable part of the entire film.
I mean, just being like, yeah, I want my house up there. Y'all gonna break this shit down, bring it up for me. I'm gonna pay you peanuts, and you like it.
Supposedly he paid well. Supposedly he kind of paid well.
Oh,
5 rupees is a lot.
$20. Sounds like a $20 tipper.
No. But dude, I don't know how much people know about Everest, but Edmund Hillary is like the first guy to summit. Yeah, they say
Sir, whatever his name is.
Right. He got knighted. By the Queen, which is like the highest. They say the highest honor. Tenzing Norgay Sherpa, who like had almost got people there before, I think, and who I think stood on the mountain first. I don't think he got knighted. I have to
he wasn't British though, right?
He was fucking Edmund Hillary. Edmund Hillary was Australian.
Commonwealth, I guess. Yeah, I guess exactly. That's what they would say.
It's sketchy. And then Edmund Hillary, I find out he fucking carried his whole house there.
Yeah, that shit's so wild.
Like, dude.
Come on, right?
Your whole house?
What if Columbus just showed up with his house in the back, being like, "Y'all gonna have to move over Native Americans." I mean, I shit in the back.
He probably had his reasons, but like, I mean, that's wild. In our day, that would be wild if I was like, I want my house there. Like,
that's insane.
I mean, I better be paying a lot. I better be paying a lot of money.
The card game you won money in. Did you feel like an asshole that you won and you didn't know what you were doing? Number one. And number two, what's the name of the game and what's the point? Is it just like goldfish?
It's called TAS, T-A-S, I think.
Uh-huh.
No idea what I was doing. Literally zero idea. I mean, I look like I'm trying. I have no idea. I'm trying to like figure out, dude, this card does this. And zero clue. And then I win. And I win like a lot of money. Like I win 500 rupees, which is like $5. That's half a day's salary. I'm like, oh shit. Like
so these motherfuckers are gambling like Michael Jordan levels. Well, relatively in their wealth. If you're gambling half a day's salary on a game of cards and some random dude comes in and takes it all.
Trust me, I felt like. So we all had like, there's a scene of us all cheersing. I just like gave all the money back. Like, I gave everyone tea and Roxy, which is alcohol, or
there you go,
whatever they wanted. Just because I was like, oh, that was bad.
How much is tea?
Tea's probably like, I don't know. I just gave the 500.
$1, $2, probably.
Probably much less. Porter prices are all like half of anything.
Did you pay porter prices or did you pay full price?
Right, I paid porter price, and I was so pumped when I did for the first time. I was like, it took me long enough. I'm finally getting the local price.
There you go. speaking of those local prices, it was crazy because the first time, I mean, when you meet the tourists, right, you're in that nice place and you're like, this is not horrible, right? And even that first day where the porters were sleeping before you guys started traveling, I was like, this is decent. And the second you guys get on the road, he's talking about sometimes we can't even find a place to sleep. People want, and he says back in the day, they wouldn't give you even a cup of tea, no food. Nowadays, what is the process for a porter? Maybe you guys had something set up, but what is the process for a porter during each stop? Where do they find somewhere to sleep? Where do they find their food?
That's a good question. You drop your bags. You drop the client's bags in the rooms. Go downstairs. You get a free tea, right?
One tea.
For that. One tea. If you're lucky, you get a refill or juice. You wait, and that's nice. That's nice of them. You wait, you chill. It's been a long day. You're there before any clients, really anyone of any clients anywhere are there because you are moving fast. Some of the other porters are there. Maybe you talk to them. Boom. Drop it. Get your stuff. Bounce out. And you go to a porter home, a porter house, which is out of sight. Sometimes it's kind of around the corner. Sometimes it's far away. Either way, the facilities are all segregated, and most clients would have no idea. I was explaining the reason the film's kind of wild is because everything you see, even if you went to Everest and did this trek, you'd have no idea about this. Like, you'd have no idea where they sleep. I've done it as a client, not as a client, but doing it myself. I didn't hire a porter, and I never saw any of this. I never knew where porters slept. I never knew. It's all out of sight. So we go to a place at the lower elevations. Each family, like Tamang, Sherpa, and Rai, might have their own home because there's more buildings. And you'll link up with other people of the same ethnic group, and it's kind of a very familiar, convivial, insular thing. But the higher you get, less houses there are until the final place where there's, I believe, only one porter house, unless there's another one I heard about. And in season, I cannot imagine how many people are there. We were out of season, and Everest was people are just starting to set up Everest for summits, which starts in March. And those who have to set it up are the porters who work on Everest. So it's like the top of the hierarchy. And because you have to climb from a cook to a porter to a guide to an Everest porter or a Sherpa, as we know. And that's where the more money is. It's very hard to climb. That's the whole other issue. But the point is there was 20 of them coming. There was 20 of us. There's 40 people probably, more, give or take, and we're all sleeping in the same place. So there's 20 of us packed into the back on these 3 bunk beds. I'm with 2 people I've never met. I can't sleep on top because I'm too big and we think it will break because we have to fit 3. And in the living room, it's like the place where we eat, the place where the fireplace is, the kitchen's right there next to it. There's like another 20 people sleeping on the floor and on the couch, on the benches. Like, the place is just covered in people sleeping, and that's not even in season. In season, it's like a lot of people, and you're usually, they'd usually be huddled up on the same little bench together, like not spooning, but almost spooning. And they didn't want me to do that because they wanted to shield me. And it took a long time for me to even get in bed with someone else, like everyone else was doing. But yeah, there's a freaking wild amount of people. I mean, it's wild.
I saw in the beginning of day 6 or day 7, there was a recording of you, and you were just sitting there, right? So I don't know if you were sleeping, sitting up, or they were just recording you. Were you like meditating, just prepping for the day? All I know, it was early, the beginning of a day, and it looked like you were sleeping, sitting up.
That was wake up.
Okay.
It was funny because I asked Babin, the cameraman, I needed a going to sleep shot and I needed a waking up shot. And I asked Babin to turn off the lights. He turned off the lights. Everyone went, hey, it was like, and then turn it back on. And you don't turn the lights off. Like, people sleep with the light on. Like,
yeah, that's what
I couldn't do it. It's bedtime. It's like, you do you, like the light's on. If it's on, it stays on. People are on their phones. You just get to bed.
You get cell service up there?
Yeah, you get cell service. So everyone's on their smartphones, and they're charging their phones sometimes.
I was wondering because it
Pretty
was so
cool.
funny. There was a scene where you guys were talking about how you guys lose electricity. He's like, yeah, we only lose electricity on Thursdays at 5 p.m.
Oh
He's like,
yeah.
it's 11 a.m. He's like,
This-
oh yeah, this time too. I'm like, what?
Wow, yeah, I'm glad you picked up on these things because it's just like there's so much inconsistency.
Yeah. I was like,
When do they cut the power? Whenever.
he's like, oh yeah. Today's just Thursday. I'm like, what does that mean? It's Thursday.
What the heck? Like, that's wrong. But I was that morning. I was just like, you're just like, fuck. Here we go again.
This is usually. Oh wait, let's talk about the ending. Like in depth, let's talk about the ending because the ending, Nate. Like Burry brought it up earlier. We talked about it a little before, but the ending is the movie, right? You decide to do the 100 kilos. You do it. You go all the way. You drop it off, right? I mean, it really looks like it's like the hardest I've ever seen you work. And that scene where when you drop it down, after they say 10 meters, you walk over there, you drop it down and you're sitting and you're like out of breath and you're just sitting there. I was like, do you need the hospital? Did you think for a second you needed to go get checked? Was there anything? Because you went into the bathroom or whatever shed room after and you did cry, right? They were tears or was it just moans and groans? Tell me about the scene and were you injured? Are you injured? Do you feel better?
No, what did Burry? I'll let Burry chime in before.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Look,
Yes.
because I said that was my favorite part. I like because when you're doing something really hard and someone is just watching and that dude's reaction when you were like, how far? And he didn't say anything and you were like, how far? And then the dude was like, and he was take it right. And I was like, I've been both these people before. And you don't want to be the 10 meters on the right guy. But
You don't want to be the 10 meters on the right guy.
I like that because none of this looked easy, but that's when you saw how hard. We literally saw your legs like being jello.
Yeah, they were shaking.
Like 30 seconds before that. And and then the stairs, I looked at those stairs and I was like, who put stairs right there?
Yeah, you really learn how to like lift from your like straight up, like with your back.
Yeah, which makes no sense. My back hurt watching that. I was like, lifting with it looks like a lot on your back, a lot in your neck.
I asked him the same question, Burry.
Yeah.
It's like, I was like, what are we doing here? Because, but yeah, I like that. I do strong ending because I like that.
Yeah, that was like, I've been talking crap since the day I got there because I wasn't going to climb Everest, that was the whole thing. So what could I do that was as extreme? The only thing that I can do is this project. And what can I do now? Well, I've seen people carry massive loads. I'll do that. I'll carry a massive load. And that will be like the Everest, the only Everest we can create here, Everest meaning just like a pinnacle, like something to be like, let's watch. And so I was talking crap. The first time I meet him, I say, I'm only going to speak Nepali. I also say I'm going to carry 100 kilo. And that was like off the bat, like I started talking crap. There's so many parts not in the film. I don't even think we have footage of like getting into arguments with people. Like one guy was like, you can't do it. At the high camp, I was like, do you want to bet on it? I was literally about to bet someone, a porter, watch me.
Give me your life's wages right now.
Yeah, no, I was about to go. Like, that's kind of screwed up. Yeah. I was like, watch me. You really don't think? I'm not going to take your money, but you don't think? And no, I don't think. You can't do this too hard. And so I got to the point I didn't want to carry it, obviously, because I wanted them to be like, no, we have to go. There's no time to stop and rearrange the bags. We have to get there. We want our tip. But that's not how it went. It's like, okay. And they started assembling bags. And the second they assemble the bags, you've now changed the course. So you better fucking do it. And I first was like, oh, this isn't bad. And then let's throw in the bags. Let's make it like as close to 100 as we can. Maybe it was only 90. And we're going. And then eventually it starts to get tough. That was actually 6 hours, I think. And in the film, it's like 2 minutes. And 6 hours. Eventually, I was stopping like every like 10 feet, maybe 5 at some points, maybe less. I don't know. I was stopping so much, and my back, like I was just gone mentally because I had to be. Everything was hurting. Everything was on fire. Like I got to that final thing, and I wanted to like see like can I walk through the entire city? Not just 10 steps. Can I make it the whole way to the hotel? Like you go those like little challenges for yourself. And I couldn't. I had to put it down, and I was like, "No, I'll try again. At least I'll do half of it." And then by the time I get there, I'm like much farther than I've been going before, and I'm just like dying. And he tells me where to put it down. I put it down, and it was like, it was just like, oh my God, there's footage. There's footage. This is real. Like I have something. I did it. This is done. We did the project. All this thing, videographers falling out. There's actually something now. And I started to break down right there on the outside. And it was raining. I was in like shorts and a t-shirt. And I went inside and I was like, it'd been 5 years of my life trying to prove to people that I wasn't just some flitty traveler, which is all it looks like on Instagram and shit. And then, this is the first time I had proof, because a book is never proof.
You talked about not wanting to put a score.
Yeah.
But you did have music. You did. I saw you with the two girls singing transition right into outside, because I was smooth. Into the morning outside walk. But so what made you not want to add any music whatsoever? Not just score, but like whether it was like traditional Nepali music or even just any background music.
The first time I went to South America and I was climbing something dumb, and I was with this guy, and I had my headphones in and I was cranking, and he didn't have his headphones in. I was like, why aren't you listening to music? This sucks. We had to we were doing this project, and he was like, because I want to remember this. I want to remember every part of this. And I think when I'm coming to filmmaking, I edited certain things to music, and it made it so powerful. Music can really accentuate it. But in the end, I didn't listen to any music the entire time. Like that was a thing, like no headphones, like if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. And that's no headphones. That's immersing myself. And so I came the opportunity, and I was conflicted what to do. And I said no, because it would change the experience. Like it would change the experience of the film so much to whatever that composer was, to what he's feeling, it's just not tied to the real thing that happened there. It's not as authentic. And you sacrifice viewers, you sacrifice, reaching that echelon of perfect filmmaking. Just like if you pull out the introduction of myself at the beginning, you sacrifice that Hollywood trope of like, introduce the character and all this shit. But that's not what I did. I dive in. I wanted to do that for you. If you want to dive in like I did, here's what happens. And that one song of those people singing happened in real life. So they gave that to us, and I wanted to hook them up. And, we heard them sing in real life, and like to play the whole entire song, that little thing would be like it would drag out. You'd get bored. So I just kind of carried it over, and I thought about not including it, but they were kind of dope singers, to be honest. Very good.
I mean, it's no Nepali Got Talent, but it was up there.
No, they're pretty good. I would freaking record deal them. I'd give them a record deal.
I love your answers to this. I'm going to say you put a lot of thought in it. I mean, it took years off your life, but I'm loving these answers, Nate. I'm just absolutely loving these answers. This is the part of the show, the podcast, YouTube channel. We talk about the cast. And we're going to hand this off to you, Nate. We go with the MVP, right? who was the what's it called? The porter, the tour guide, the person, the family member that you remember the most, that means the most to you, that you still keep in contact with the most. And then we also ask about the LVP, but we're not going to say least valuable player. We'll just say, who did you have any conflict with? And that could be porter, could be tourist, could be a local. It could be a cameraman, right? So MVP, who are you tight with or the number one go-to? And any issues that you had with anyone specific, and that specific person calls multiple issues.
Yeah, I think MVP was cameraman. I mean, he's very good.
Did he have to carry a lot of shit too?
I carried most of his shit. It's because I didn't want him to be burdened down. But he had his little bag, and he had to run ahead and run behind and get these shots and stay up.
That's some real man versus wild.
And not just that. You're like loading up the footage every night. You're making sure it's categorized. I mean, I don't think categorizing, but you're loading it in. You're making sure the hard drives are clear to put more footage on. How are we going to have batteries at the high element? Because we're in freezing temperatures and batteries run out like that. So you have to solar charge them, and you have to do all these things that come with the terrain of freezing conditions, which are batteries, vape. How do we keep the laptop on? How do we upload all this stuff? And so you're up. I don't know how late he's up, and I don't think he ever told me how late he was up, because I always cut him off and I'm like, back to the project. A lot of conflict between us two, because I'm very, very demanding, which is not good, but I can be an asshole, you know? I'm like, you know, you gotta be here, and like, what the hell, all this shit. And then other conflicts, I mean, there's so many parts of the film, you know, some guy who's in the film who we go to his house and I ask him about his hotel, he's now passed away. There's
the one
like,
from the earthquake?
yeah, he's literally, it's not alive, which is wild. Like, what? And then the other porters helped me so much. Like, just those two, like, they're working their job and they're making sure I know how to tie my bag. Like, they're making sure, like, if you were on a team, like, fuck this guy. That's what I'd think. Like, fuck this guy. This guy's an asshole. Fucking learn how to do it. Don't make me take time out of my job to do your shit. And there was none of that. It was always like helping me, asking, like going above and beyond to try and help. So they were dope. I mean, there's conflicts everywhere. Conflicts you can talk about, conflicts you can't talk about. The film is obviously has sensitive information. So, you know, you can talk about there's issue and stuff, but if there's an issue, that means there's a problem. And if there's a problem, then that means that it's continued, more or less. So you're not going to lovey-dovey with everyone.
Did you have to get permission from everyone to be in the film?
You know, that's a unique thing. We shot it. I mean, we'll see if we cut this part. But
yeah, no, we can cut this part.
But
Sorry,
maybe
Mark.
not. Maybe not. I mean, the truth is more important. We, you know, you're supposed to shoot a film and get permission from every single person that appears.
No, I'm not talking. I mean, all right, this was pretty racist of me, but I was just, I was assuming you had to get permission from the clients, because
we have written permission afterwards.
I'm assuming you got permission from the travel company.
Okay, so the main permissions we got were from the nonprofit who helped with some connections. The travel company, we have their written permission, and like a few others. But it's a, you know, I didn't know I was making a film.
Yeah.
I thought this could be a trailer. I thought at worst it could be like one clip of me carrying 100 kilos to show Hollywood to give me a series. And then it came this, and now it's like, geez, you know, I don't know. I've covered my bases as well as I can.
I don't think you're gonna get sued by Nepalese.
I mean, you might. That's why. Yeah, the accepting money thing. I haven't been accepting money for the film at all, because I know, you know, what's become of it, and that you can't even reach some of these people. Some of these people don't sign. You know, some of these people can't read or write. Whatever it may be, you might not be able to reach everyone who appears in the film, or you know. It's not like you can readily contact anyone. So I've been hesitant to do that, but if there's a way that I'm still so in the hole with the film as well. like 10,000 in 2 years. It's probably more than 10,000 now. It's like I hope there's a way to do both, stay on the path to help recomp the film as well as like
live your best life.
Well, and just give back, like
but like when I say live your best life, I don't mean like you're gonna go out and buy a Porsche. I mean like you're gonna continue to do the thing you want to do, and you need money to do that, right? So live the life you want to live, and you did do this for a reason, and you want money to go there. I understand what you're saying wholeheartedly. I'm a little bit more greedy than you, but I hear you.
Oh, I want that. I want a ton of money. But you got to do it the right way.
Would you cut this up into, because you said you had 40 hours, would you cut this up into a TV show? Not TV show, but episodes, like 20 minutes and like each day or something like that? I don't know, because I feel like.
I don't think I would. I did my artwork, like I did my piece. This is the film I put my fucking, like I went crazy over this. Like obsessive. You shouldn't be having the thoughts I had ever. And I had to have some of those because I was so obsessed. So I don't think that's I'm not going back to that. If someone else, I never really thought about it. If someone else was like, I'll take all your footage and make something out of it. I mean, fuck it. I mean, if I don't have to do the work, and if you really want to do the work, and sure, I mean, it helps spread the story even more. But I'm not changing this film. This film is. It's
just because we usually talk about like reboots and remakes and stuff like that for everything we do. So I was just trying to think of a way to add that in.
Well, you could go back to Nepal. You could. I mean, you could do another project. I don't want to.
Would you do it again?
I don't know if someone paid for me to go up Everest.
Nah, just be a porter, bro.
Maybe all the way to the summit, but.
So are the summit porters like grade A? Are those like the grade A guys?
Yeah, they're making like thousands of dollars. Still nothing if the mountain were in America, but they're making a lot for there, and they're wild. They're like the mountaineers of the world.
Climbing up Mount Everest. I hope you're making.
And you're not only climbing; you're climbing for other people.
Yeah.
What's setting up people's tents? You're setting up people. You have to go up and down 10 times more than someone climbing Everest does.
And
yeah, I was thinking about this. What do porters do on the off season? Is it just like farming? Okay. I think someone did mention that they say they farm on the off season. Okay. All right.
Damn. So it's like the WNBA.
I mean,
I could do that. Let me try that again. Sorry, cut this out. All right.
No, but it is.
No, it's like the WNBA where their main season and then in the off season, it's not like you don't get paid enough for the whole year. So
exactly. So what are you going to do for income?
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter what your job is.
I could have switched. You could have used a different example, but
no, but that's a good example. I mean, yeah.
Don't lacrosse players also have to do that? Like professional lacrosse players?
Yeah, a lot of them. They probably have to have a second job. It's the same basic thing for anything that doesn't make a lot of money. You need to.
Of course, you need to support yourself some way somehow. So I think I've said my fair share. Maburi, if you have anything to say, please. But let's give Nate the last word. If you're all set.
Just what's the difference between a Sherpa and a porter?
Sherpa is just the ethnic group of the people who used to live in the area, and because they used to predominate it, when these jobs came up, they have a lot of the jobs. So everyone in other countries just assumes that they're all Sherpa, but it's just a last name or it's just an ethnic group. So there are Tamang in the movie. I work with Tamang, Rai, and just like every industry is like diversifying in America, so is that over there. So you have now different ethnic groups are all working on Everest, and it's not just Sherpa. So it's not the right word. The job is porter. Sherpa are just those who tend to work it the most.
Gotcha. All right, that makes sense because I did not know that.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. No one knows that.
Before I let you finish up, because I just said I would. Could you tell us what's coming up next? I mean, not I know you have to do the marketing and put this movie, and this might take months, years, whatever, but your next physical Nate, I'm living, immersing myself challenge. Is there a goal? Is there a plan? Do you even know what you want to do next?
I think, thanks for asking. I wish I gotta ask you guys after, but I need to go back to living fucking my life on my terms. So I might go to Israel in a few weeks because I'm not doing anything during COVID. I might go live in a Bedouin place, which is like, if you ever seen like Hidalgo, you know, when they're riding horses and stuff through the desert. I might go live with Muslim and Arabic speaking people in the desert, and at the same time write my books. So trying to learn a new language while finishing up the books that I've needed to do for a while. And I might be leaving in a few weeks if I can put together some money. I'm just doing what I do. I mean, at the end of the day, do I know all the answers? No, but I just fucking fuck it.
I was just going to say best place for people to support the movie, whether it's like, share, watch, whichever one works. I mean, I went through a link on your Instagram, but obviously if people don't follow you or whatever or know you, then they might not see that. So what's the best way?
It's on Vimeo now. It looks like views are almost to 15,000, which is nice, but nothing compared to those TikTok videos. So I don't know how many views a film gets, you know? I have no idea. They don't tell you. I assume it's millions.
Oh, yeah.
So
and it depends on what video. You just check out the other videos, like Vimeo.
No, but like film. How much is it? I don't know. So we're going to hopefully get that many, but yeah, Vimeo. I'm debating on putting it on YouTube, but I want to keep it respected. It's fully embeddable, so if you copy the link, you can put it on your own website. It's all but free to every single person out there. Yeah, and you can find it. I mean, you can find it by Googling the Porter. There's like so many articles at this point and so many interviews with so many people that have done that. Very big magazine, Climbing Magazine, has taken it and put it up. British Mountaineering Council put it up. The International Climbing and Mountaineering Federation, which is like the UN of the outdoors, is on board, which is wild. And the NMA, which is Nepalese Mountaineering Association, is previewing it. And maybe that won't work out. Maybe I just jinxed it saying out loud. But there are some,
bro, speak it into existence.
There are some very big organizations on board, and it's like, cool. So support the film. Just watch it, share it. Don't watch it. I don't really care.
And tip your porters. And tip your damn porters.
I mean, it would be cool. I might add a, support this project, support the work button because I'm so in the hole, and maybe we'll figure out a way to give back to those over there as well. But not to be, that guy as well.
I mean, what do you mean that guy? You put that Jesus into it. At some point, you got to make your money. It's not like Jesus is that guy taking donations.
I just got deja vu. Yeah, I mean, fucking, like, you don't want to be the white guy coming over and giving other people money and like, that's a pretty thing. That's a big thing right now. And you don't want to do that. But but do you want to do it?
Yeah, maybe you just need a black face to do it for you. Sordik will definitely do it for you.
Look, I have no issue collecting.
Sordik's still American.
So the thing is, Nate, thank you so much for coming on. The money situation, you need to figure that out, but add something because anyone and everyone that sees this movie is going to want a way to give back. So
but are you giving back to me or are you giving back to the porters?
You figure that out. You figure it out and just make it super clear. Get two huge buttons and say give to Nate or give to the porters, or just explain it in huge lettering. 50% is going to the porters, 50% is going to Nate. Just make it super clear. And if you're just as honest as you possibly can be, you're not lying and you're not being skeevy. And if you think it's weird giving charity to these porters who are struggling, I don't know what to tell you because I just disagree, right? I know the look is bad, but the intention is good, and the money is the money is the money.
That's
but true. I'm not here to argue with you, right? What I am here to do is say thank you. This is amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the craziest, weirdest, most out the world Millennial classic we have ever done, but god damn it, it is a Millennial classic. If you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. Number one. Number two, Nate Menninger, go follow him on all the Insta, the Facebook, the Vimeo, the wherever it is. Link's going to be in the description box below. Catch you next week. Love you. Hugs and kisses. Deuces.